I'm excited about this next panel. We have some fantastic industry leaders, some great personalities. The masters of the market is what we're calling this one. We've got business company owners, team owners, individual agents. We got a plethora of just success coming up here. So I'm excited about our panel. I will introduce them one by one, starting with Miss Kymber Lovett Menkiti, who is a trailblazer with over 16 years of real estate experience. Yeah, here for Kymber. Leading Keller Williams Capital Properties and serving as the first African-American female regional director for Keller Williams, Maryland, D.C. region. She is the president of the Menkiti Group and MG Real Estate Sales Team, residential sales team, sorry. She's overseen over $1.5 billion in residential sales and mentored a top performing team. She holds key roles in industry leadership, including serving as NAR's 2023 Broker Relations Liaison and in the 2023 Bright MLS Board of Directors. You get all sorts of roles, don't you, Kymber? I'm not even half done yet. No, recognized for her achievements, she's also been honored as a 40 under 40 by the Washington Business Journal and is named NAR's 2021 District of Columbia Realtor of the Year. A graduate, look at you, just keep going. A graduate of Bryn Mawr College and James Madison University, Kymber resides in Washington, D.C. with her family and helps run KWCP with her husband, Bo, as well. So awesome stuff. So welcome, Kymber. Our next illustrious panelist is my man, Sammer Kuraishi. Sammer's got over 25 years of experience spanning residential, commercial, and real estate development. Sammer is the president and founder of the One Street Company, and my good friend. He is a true industry innovator, leads with fresh perspective. He's built One Street into the number one mega real estate team in Washington, D.C., boasting over $2.5 billion in sales and 6,900 units since 2012. That's a lot of units. Committed to revolutionizing the real estate experience, One Street provides a tech-forward approach, data-driven strategies, and close client partnerships for superior outcomes. Sammer's visionary leadership has earned One Street top rankings in units and volumes sold by the Wall Street Journal for 11 consecutive years. Beyond his role with One Street, he extends his expertise to advising hedge funds and financial institutions on emerging trends. He needs to start advising me on a little bit of stuff. Passionate, successful, and forward-thinking, Sammer embodies the ethos of putting the real in real estate. So welcome to my friend Sammer. This next lady is, she's a fantastic agent of ours here at Samson, and we had her as salesman a couple months ago, and she just crushed it, and I was so happy. I loved her energy and everything she laid down for us. So Miss Tonga Turner, come on up. Tonga brings a wealth of experience from executive leadership roles to her real estate practice, prioritizing exceptional customer service and client satisfaction with a background in market strategy, corporate communication, and financial management. So smart in so many things. I'm not sure if I deserve to sit up here with these people. Tonga offers personalized attention to each client's needs. She holds degrees from Howard University and the University of Maryland. Tonga's commitment to professionalism and integrity sets her apart in the industry. As a devoted mother and wife, she balances her career with family life, striving to fulfill her clients' real estate dreams with unwavering dedication. Tonga is the mother of two beautiful boys, Luke and David, and wife to her amazing husband of 19 years, Mr. Stanley. Welcome, Tonga. And this last lady, so I'm going to tell this story again about Althea, okay? And I know she probably gets embarrassed when I say it, but, Althea was in a mastermind session once with us, and, she's talking about all the things she does, and you guys have all met Casey, my Uncle Casey, and Casey looked across the table, and he goes, man, I got tired just listening to all that Althea does. Like, she's got all the energy, bringing all the stuff, and I just about died, fell out of my chair. It was so funny. But Miss Althea Hearst, come on up. Althea Hearst, she transitioned from federal police officer, so I'm a little scared now, to real estate in 2017, so just 7 years ago, and she swiftly soared to remarkable heights, achieving over $100 million in sales volume and ranking in the top 5% of realtors nationally and locally. As the driving force behind Lux Alliance, she not only leads a dynamic team, but also shares her expertise as a speaker, teacher, and coach, empowering fellow professionals to thrive. Althea's magnetic presence on stage reflects her authentic charisma with her dedication to family adds depth to her inspiring journey through embracing change and pursuing passion. She epitomizes extraordinary success and fulfillment in both career and life, and we are blessed with her today. Thank you, Althea, for coming. So we got a lot of smarts, a lot of success, a little variance of what you all do every day. So I'm excited about this panel and getting to share with each other. So, and it's in a world of ever-changing in the real estate industry. It's great to have real estate professionals with all different viewpoints in this. This is fantastic. So, first question, I'm gonna kick off Miss Althea to my left here because I know she's ready to talk. Everybody check their mics. Everybody good?
I don't know. Can you guys hear me? All right.
Yeah, we're good? All right. I like to do mic checks. We can hear all your great ideas. So, how are you demonstrating value to consumers, and how has that evolved recently? So, when you're providing that value.
Okay. Great question. I just knew you was going to have to go first.
Yeah, of course.
I look like I got the special seat, right?
Teacher's pet right next to it.
Exactly. So, demonstrating my value, I always tell myself and always tell other agents as well, like as you grow in the business, you grow as a person. So the dynamics of you are going to change. So what I do is I personally figure out, hey, who am I attracting this season? How am I speaking to them? And how can I show up for that person? And it all goes back to me making sure that I'm authentic to myself. So if I need to put together new guides, if I need to put together new checklists, if I need to put together new experiences, I make sure that I put together whatever is needed in that moment and in that season for my clients and even for myself. And I just make sure that it's authentic to me. And I show up in that space and make sure it makes me convert as well.
There you go. I like it. Tonga, what do you think? How are you showing value to your clients today?
So for me, I came into real estate from the private sector.
Yep.
And so private sector, it's all about professionalism, competency, and professionalism trumps experience. So when I got into real estate, I was really kind of concerned when I saw the level of unprofessionalism,
right?
The level of non-competent agents.
Unfortunately, it's true, right?
And these.
So I'm going to stop real quick.
Yeah.
Tonga, how many years have you been selling real estate?
I've been selling real estate for 3 years.
3 years, and she's already in like your second year. You did how many millions last year?
27 million.
27 million her second year. Are you serious?
27 million.
That is somebody that took on this industry and just says, "Let's go."
Yeah, and part of that is bringing what I had gleaned from the private sector, which is into real estate. And so I'm running into these agents who are extremely unprofessional, non-competent, and they are doing $500,000, $1 million, $2 million deals. They're not responding to email. They're not answering their phones. And I'm sure some of you have experienced that. You're all shaking your head, right?
Nobody in this room.
None of you here, right? But for me, bringing value is bringing professionalism and competency. And I've had clients say to me, because you're so professional, because you're so competent, I trust and I feel safe with you. And what better compliment than to have your clients say they feel trusted and safe with you?
Absolutely.
I mean, they're making the biggest financial decision of their life.
Yep.
And so for me, value isn't always something tangible. It's not a fancy technology tool that I have somewhere at home. It's not my systems. It's actually just bringing professionalism and competency to the job.
I like it. Now, Sam and Kymber both, not really as much in production every day as much both of you. Sam, when it comes to leading your team and your group, what are some of the things that you guys are doing to kind of make sure you're still showing that value every day? Or what are some of the things you're teaching your group?
Well, I think we're people first, right?
Yeah.
We kind of say at our team is that we're real people doing real estate, and that really should resonate, right? Like you got to be real in everything you do, whether it's family, whether it's work. It just starts with being a real person. So, look, I find real estate to be unintelligent, and when I say that's an easy barrier to entry, and no matter how good you are, how smart you are, you're always working on an assembly line. And so, what I like to teach my staff and team, and for the years it is that we're all breaking down people's walls and barriers. Everyone's been cheated on or screwed over or something of that nature. It's an interview, right? You have 10 seconds, 30 seconds to meet someone. Like, it's important that you are actually listening to them. You are their partner. You are an oak tree. They lean on you. Because what's your value if everything's easy, right? So I like to reverse engineer and say, you know what? Buying the house is easy. You open the door, they like it. Great, congratulations. Okay, that's easy. Now what? Like, what are people want to be heard. They want to know that you understand their goals and what their vision is, and that's what can separate you from the rest. Anyone can get a call and go show a home, and okay, great. But like, if you really care about your craft, then you care about people, and you put ethics before money. And if you're good at what you do, you'll make money.
There you go. I love it. Great stuff. Kymber, you've done all through the levels. But, leading a great company like you do now, what are some of the things that, when you talk about showing that value that you're kind of trying to teach nowadays?
I mean, I think you heard it in this authenticity. Like as agents, I think there's two important things. One is, are we understanding the market? Are you students? Are you doing exactly what you're in here today? The students of both how we elevate, right, the skill set that we have and the professionalism that we have, but also understanding like what's happening in the market so that you're able to educate. Because yes, they're paying you on that one transaction, but that one transaction, when they sell it in 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, we know is the number one driver of wealth in the US, in the world. And so that's the expertise that they're giving for you. Like that's part of the value. And I think not only having that as the student of the market that you are, but also are you living that in your own business? So one of our key things is you are all business owners, which means you have a P&L, which means you're running a business, which means you are also thinking about how you invest in real estate. I think one of our biggest challenges as we look at the commission compression that's happening in our industry is, do you have additional other ways and sources of income? Are you investing in real estate? Because when you sit down at that kitchen table and you understand, because you've bought sold property, you have investment properties, you understand how that financial impact of that one single transaction is for a family, I think you can deliver a different level of value because you're in it and you understand it and you're looking to advise them on what's the best financial decision for them, which isn't always selling, right? And so being able to create that, because now you're creating this ecosystem of a database of people who know you, who trust you, who understand that you're really helping them make these large financial investments for them and their family.
Absolutely. And you and Bo, you guys do a lot of investment. That's a whole wing of what you focus on as well, right?
We do. I mean, we started, both of us, as dual career, right? We started in a whole nother world. And so our big wealth building, people are like, what did you do? And we kept our nonprofit incomes for the first 7 years that we were selling real estate. And we were selling a lot of real estate. And that meant that we didn't adjust our lifestyle for the success that we were having. We really treated it from the beginning like a business. And that meant that we were then able to buy and invest in real estate and to build up a portfolio that today has really been allowed us to create real lasting impact in the communities that we work in.
That's awesome. And you're in that space a lot. That's something you really dive into a lot.
For sure, yeah. I mean, obviously, look, everything is. What I was going to say, to piggyback on what you're saying for you guys is, I mean, we're farmers, right? I mean, I don't like to get my hands dirty personally, but like we're farmers. Everything that you're doing,
you're too pretty to get your hands dirty.
Whether you're afforded the opportunity to invest in stock or property or businesses, your investment's right here, right? Yourself, and everyone that you come in contact with, it's like we all have this ladder of this dream of what we're going to do, and we got to get to this and this and this. But the clients that you're dealing with are your diversification. You have one that's buying, you have one that's renting, you have one that's you're basically laying seeds and you're putting water down and you're laying it out. So don't get ahead of yourself and jump the mountain. Take your steps, right? So just remember, there's diversification in your industry, not just thinking outside. I got to get a 401k. I got to get this. There's so much stuff you want, but you're not going to get there if you don't just take it step by step. But to your point, yeah, of course. Like I'm going to do this 26 years, and it took me a long time, slow and steady, to get to a place where I have the track record and the mindset and the passion to learn, and have learned and screwed up enough where I always say to myself when I do investments, how much room do I have to F up, right? I'm not going to say the F word.
What kind of lesson? I'm always like, what kind of degree are you going to get on this one? I'm like, that was my MBA, project.
Yeah. You're cool. I mean, Sam actually had something that earlier said, had a cuss word on a slide. So you're good, because I know you stopped yourself.
Don't say the cuss word.
I won't say it. I said the F word.
Yeah, I know.
So the point is like,
I can't believe you're restraining yourself. I've known you a while, Sam.
Yeah. Well, again, everyone's diversifying what you do with what you have in your hand. It's not just about stocks and houses. It's the portfolio of clientele. They are your renters are going to turn to buyers. So every person's going to buy at some point. Just a matter of when.
Right. No, I love that. So we got a lot of success. We like to get real up here a little bit. So anybody wants to jump in first, but can any of you think of a particular situation that was hard, a transaction, or something you had to deal with in your business recently or ever, and how you're able to navigate through that and kind of make that a learning experience? Because I think we're all out there we've got all these bad ones, but can you think of a particularly challenging deal or situation you might have been able to navigate through recently or ever? Kymber's probably got one, I'm sure.
I'm like, what happened last week?
Which one in my Rolodex
I
do I
know,
want
like,
to
which
jump
one?
into?
How many of you were here when we were selling real estate on Craigslist? Anybody here, like, right? You got Craigslist ad? Only a few of us. Okay, you got a young crowd. But I think then there was like all the Craigslist scams, right? So now we
that
feel
was
like we're
fun.
on top of the scams. There's a whole new scams. We've gotten this one, right, where they are literally beautifully replicating driver's licenses. They're usually saying, hey, I'm out of the country, but I have this piece of land to sell.
Yeah.
And we're doing a lot of land deals. And we think like, we sell a lot of real estate. We're like, we don't think that we'd be easily scammed.
Oh,
and
sure.
yet we actually went under contract pretty far down the process because they were, a seemingly normal couple. They just happened to be out of the country. It didn't sound like when you go back and look at it, you're like, that sounds a little bit sketchy. But it did at the time. We were like, there's land, they're there. We even asked for driver's licenses. Like, how many of us are verifying that the person sitting in front of you is actually the legal seller to sell the property?
Right.
Like, we're not.
Not that
And
often.
so when I just in the last 2 weeks was then received a legal notice because we were able to get ourselves out of that transaction. But the owner felt like, hey, that was you guys as agents. It's your responsibility to verify that the person executing the listing agreement. And in this case, our agent had actually asked for a copy of the driver's license. Now, he didn't look at it very closely because it was clearly not a legal Maryland driver's license. But he was like, I checked the box. I asked for the driver's. How many of us do that?
I've never done that one time.
I've never done that one time. So it's both my lesson and my warning to all of you that that's now rampant. Like once we realized that, there are probably 5 other cases in the brokerage, one of which went all the way to settlement before recognizing it. So they're using land deals. They're coming in. They're going to seem very normal to you because they're like, and the story seems very normal. And they might even give you a license.
Yeah.
But they do not own the property. And it's often in names like James Williams, right? Like a name that seems fine. So James Williams then served me with a lawsuit this week because he said, you, Kymber, should have known that
So
was
if
coming.
anybody James Williams calls, it's not.
Or any land deals, just call Donny before you sign a land contract.
So we had one get all the way to closing too, and some of our good, smart realtors have been doing it for a while. And then Carolyn got one. I don't know if she's still here or not. She got a call right after that, and she called me, asked me for my advice. She's like, I'm just gonna go. She looked up the tax record, and the actual owner lived in Herndon. She's like, you know what? I'm just gonna drive by and see. She knocked on the door, and he's like, I'm not selling my land. So the person didn't do enough homework because the actual owner of the property lived locally, where she could drive up, knock on the door, and was like, so she cut it off at the pass before it got too deep. But it's happened to a lot of people. It's tough. Yeah, I know we've had a lot that we've turned them into cops and feds and all sorts of stuff, but it's happening all the time. So
And we get excited because we're like, a listing. This is
yeah.
awesome.
Oh
right?
yeah, it's gonna sell so quick.
It's gonna sell so quick. It's great.
It's land. Everybody wants land. This is awesome. Sam, or anything you could think of as far as challenging situation you're able to navigate through?
I think, I have those deals on my listings where I had fake buyers and no proof of funds, but I'm talking about more of like a life thing where it's like, you go through cycles in real estate when you're on the top of the pyramid and you're growing, and you're growing so big and you don't realize that there's also a down. And I think, I've been blessed to kind of go through the motions of, expanding, getting hit in your face by a marketplace, but being able to pivot and understand how to adapt. And one of the reasons why I came to Samson was that it was very hard when you're running your own company for 2.5 decades. It's like, okay, can you get out of your own way and focus on what really matters? We're just selling real estate. The agents need me more than anybody else. This is my time to shine for them. Get back to the war. Get back to the grind. And I think I had a personal maturity moment where it's like there's no glitz and glam in ownership, and in this, it's like, we can do this better. I built a team, and I feel a bigger part of a team now, which allows me to focus on my core things that I'm good at and give it back to the agents. So I think, going through a runway of like, you own this and you own that, but you own nothing. It's nothing. You only own, like, I guess, your hands and your head and your body, I guess, but that's it. But it's a struggle because we all get stuck in this world of a ladder.
Ego.
Yeah. And like, I took my ego out and said, you know what? I did it. But by making that change, I lost, people left that I had. And at the end of the day, I'm not the type of person, I'm not going to chase you, right? I'm going to focus on giving more playing time to people that are there. But as a human being, we all have emotions. It's like you put time and effort into people. But one thing I never stopped doing, because I understand everything comes to an end, is I never stopped being myself. I never stopped giving my mentorship and doing what I need to do, because you got to stay focused. And when you quiet the noise, you keep it moving, and life goes on. But I look back. It was I like Donny sometimes. We like you a lot. But I wouldn't be here if I didn't like Donny. Donny's a great person, smart, and I feel very comfortable, and I'm very happy looking back a year and a half now knowing I made the right decision, because you question yourself. But that was a very big thing for me.
Yeah.
And I'm actually happy I executed it. And I look at it, and now the people that had left are starting to knock on the door.
Yeah.
And sadly, I'm saying no.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I love it. So, Tonga, you got like a fresh baby career. I'm sure it seems big because you've done a lot so far. We got kind of a baby career in the grand scheme of the world. I'm sure you've had a couple right and left crosses early in your career. Yeah. Can you think of something that has been challenging that you kind of be able to build from?
I can. I still have a lot.
No one's had any problem with this.
I know, right?
I still have a lot of wounds still, as
Yes.
I'm still a baby in this business, but I'm seasoned enough to know when something isn't right. Right? It's that instinct. And so I have had clients. I don't know how many of you have experienced this, but you have those clients that no matter what you say to them, they have to use their lender. I mean, they are wedded to that lender that they found on Google. They are tied to that Wells Fargo and that Truist Bank and that PNC that has pre-approved them without looking at a single pay stub. And so when you have those buyers, on one hand, you're really, really concerned because you know where it's going. On the other hand, you want to respect their wishes. So I had this buyer. She's like, you know what? PNC is my bank. I've been with PNC for 20 years. I don't care what you say. We are rolling with PNC. I said, all right, let's put the offer in. Got the offer, got them under contract. I'm praying every day because I know where it's going. And so we get almost probably a week away from closing. We've got the appraisal done. We've gotten the inspections done. Everything is just flowing. And I'm like, this actually may work. And then, boom, just like lightning.
What'd they say?
We can't pre-approve this person because their debt to income ratio is off. I mean, the basic things, right?
Yeah.
So my experience with that is you have to know when, and you have to be okay with walking away. Every deal isn't a good deal. Sometimes wisdom is wealth, and you have to be comfortable with saying no. The other thing that I learned is that I am forever tethered to my lender.
Yeah.
And my lender's actually here, Mr. Michael Lynch, if you can
She's
stand up so I can shout you out.
Somebody getting
He's
shouted
up
out. Oh,
there.
there he is. He's hiding back there.
And when I
He works
say
for PNC, right?
No, he doesn't. He works for NFM Lending. But what I learned is that there's something about having a lender that truly understands how to close a deal.
Sure.
Because if you don't have that in your arsenal, you are going to be crying more times than laughing. And so he was able actually to save the deal. But had I not had that in my arsenal of partners, I would be out of $15,000.
Yeah.
And so for me, the learning lesson is trust your instinct, have a good lender, and know when to say when.
I like it. Good stuff. Althea, you got any knots to drop here?
I do have one that I experienced. And for me, mine's happened, I want to probably say maybe like 5 years ago. And this will always be like literally at the top of my mind. And it actually kind of gets emotional too, because it was like a really crazy transaction. At the time, I was representing the buyer, and the seller was selling their home, of course, and the seller was going through a divorce. At the time, we really didn't know about it because honestly, it was really none of our business as to what was going on in the back end. Everything was going smooth, and then like literally 48 hours before closing, the seller disappeared. We needed some documents signed. He was not answering his agent. Nothing was happening. I'm like, okay, well, I'll give it a day. Let's see if we can get in contact with your client, and let's see if we can get things moving. And he calls me back the next day. He's like, hey, Althea, I cannot get in contact with him. I don't think this is going to work. He's kind of just walked away. And I'm like, well, do you give me permission to reach out to him? And he's like, yes, please, if you can. I'm like, okay, well, send me his number. So he sends me his number. I call him. I'm blowing his phone up. You guys, he does not answer the phone. The title company's calling. He's calling. I'm calling. He's not answering. So you guys know I'm a previous police officer, so I know how to investigate. Okay? So if you ever
I forgot
need some
that part of the story.
investigation,
This is about to get interesting.
yes, if you ever need some investigation, I'm your girl, right?
I have someone right now.
Gotcha. So I investigated, and I went down his entire family line, and I called his mom. And I called his mom.
He called the man's mom.
I called his mom, and she picked up on the first ring. And I'm like, hey, my name's Althea Hearst. I'm with X, Y, and Z, and we're trying to get your property. So have you heard from him? Because we're calling him. And he's due to close tomorrow, and our buyers are ready. And she's like, I haven't, but let me call you back. And she was shaking, and I'm like, okay. And she's like, I'll give you a phone call back. I'm like, okay. That night, she calls me and she tells me, she says, thank you. I said, what's going on? She said, he's going to sign the papers and he's going to FedEx them back to the title company. Your buyer can close. So then his agent calls and he's like, I don't know what happened, but he just called. He's signing the papers. The buyer's going to close. I said, okay, great. The next day after the buyer's closed, the mom called me back and said, you stopped my son from taking his life. She said, I walked in and he was getting ready to take his life. She said, so whatever you did, I just want to tell you thank you, because I was about to lose my child.
Oh my God.
So even to this day, that gives me chills.
Yeah.
And what I could just really say to you guys as agents is don't be afraid to go above and beyond. Don't be afraid to push the limit. Don't be afraid to ask the questions, because you all are in transactions with other agents together. This is a partnership. This is a relationship. So sometimes if you have to step in order to help all parties, just do it. And you just never know who life you're going to save.
Wow. That was a blessing right there. Damn. I did not see that turn of the story coming there. Gonna refocus to the next question here. All right. So we're gonna be positive now. All right. So a lot of that it was a positive story. So let me say it that way. So a lot of challenges coming into our industry now, obviously. Settlements this and settlements that. We were on the stage 6 months ago when there was a lot less going on, right? Well, we didn't know what was coming down the pipe exactly, but how are you changing your mindset to stay optimistic? And Carolyn talked about mindset, but things that you're focusing on, stay optimistic through some of these, challenges and punches getting thrown our way a little bit. I'll start with Kymber down there.
I love it. I mean, I think part of it is, and you just heard it, I think, around the prior session, what are you putting in? Like, there's a lot of stuff coming at you. Interest rates are high. The real estate agents are going away. Like, the headlines are dominant and often negative, especially about the industry. So I think you have to be very intentional about what you're consuming, what you're bringing in, and just understanding, like, perspective. Like, when you talk about 27 million in the third year in the business, arguably two of the hardest years that we've seen. And so I think you have to make sure you're surrounding yourself with the information, the data, the detail. It's been powerful for me now sitting on the Bright board, because Bright is producing a significant amount of data for us. Every single week, they're doing an analysis. How many new listings came on the market? How does it compare to the same period of time? And when you look at 2,000-ish new listings that hit the market, like, there's a lot of listings. The idea that there's no inventory, it shifts that. So I think, one, just making sure you're really grounded and rooted in the facts and the data. And then what are you doing? Like, hard times don't last always, right? So it is a harder season. You are going to have to potentially do more than you had to do a few years ago to get the same result. But that's actually, like, these seasons don't last forever. And so are you just making sure you're understanding of what do you need to do to stabilize and invest in your business for the long term?
I like it. Tonga, what are you thinking? Staying optimistic through this.
Staying optimistic. So resiliency, right? I think we're in a microwave society where we want everything fast, and we're in a challenging market. So that's just not realistic. And the tendency is, when you're in a challenge, your knee-jerk reaction is to make a reactionary decision, right? Let me go drop $500 on Zillow so I can start getting leads. Let me start mailing stuff to different people, and there's no strategy to it.
What does 500 get you at Zillow?
Nothing.
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
It gets you 1.5 leads, maybe that. If that, 0.5 in a horrible zip code.
But my man Sam will hook you up. He's the Zillow king over there, though.
I digress. But what I'm trying to say is that when you are in a challenging market, one of the key things for me is making sure that I'm being strategic.
Yeah.
That I'm thinking about carefully what my next move is going to be. And when you make decisions out of fear, you only promote more anxiety,
sure.
Right? You made the decision anxiously. Now you're anxious about, did you make the right decision? The other thing for me is I am being very careful about where I spend my time, my talent, and my resources. If I have a buyer and they're not committed, I'm moving on. You go to the back of the line. I don't have time. I don't have the energy to waste on a buyer that's not committed. The second thing is, if I have a partner that cannot execute with precision, you go to the back of the line. That goes for my lender, Mike. That goes for my inspector. That goes for anyone that's partnering with me, because at the end of the day, their success is built on my success, and vice versa. So partners are getting cut. If you can't deliver,
I'm fired up with Tonga up here. Let's go.
Seriously.
You can't produce, you get to the back of the line.
Back of the line. And when it comes to leads, I am making sure that I am properly screening my leads. Every lead is not a good lead, but you have to be able to score your leads so you know which one do you prioritize, which one do you put to the back of the line, and which one do you aggressively pursue. So for me, that's what I'm doing in this challenging market, staying strategic and not being reactionary, because the market is in influx. And remember, guys, resiliency is key, because at the end of the day, only the cream rises to the top.
There you go. I love it. I love it. Good stuff. My man, Sammer, what do you think? How are we shaping that mindset during all the noise?
I mean, look, I always stay positive. There's always positive in everything. There's no reason to get upset about anything, or I don't know. Like, I like chaos. I live in controlled chaos. I get bored if it's not chaotic. So, I'm maybe a little nuts.
I could use a little more boredom nowadays.
A little nuts like that. But, look, I've been through, I started real estate at 18. That was chaos. When I went through the short sale world in 2008, that was chaos. I mean, I went to COVID and everyone was every time everyone was running, anytime there's a disruption, everyone's running like crazy. And I'm like, what I do is I run to the fire. So I'm just like, okay, they're running away. Well, or you could use it as a buy time strategy. So, and I tend to have won during the times everyone runs away. A lot of people are in reality. Look, I teach psychology and ego. I don't teach real estate, right? So life is psychology and ego. And everyone just likes to freak out and complain. And, the ones that complain, I just, you have to quiet that. There's a lot of disruption and noise. But in the end, all we're doing is selling real estate. And guess what? There's changes and there's things that you have to adapt to. And the people that adapt are going to be okay. And you know what? You can't just own a team without trying out. Like, I have to work harder just because I've been in the business and I've accomplished a lot. Doesn't mean I don't work 10 times as hard the last couple of years. Hell yeah. Last year was my hardest year and it wasn't my most successful year. I mean, it was not the most economically successful, but it was my most successful year personally because I didn't lose. So if I didn't lose, I'm happy, right? So I won, so I learned. So at the end of the day, whether this NAR things happens or not, I look at it as a win because guess what? My 26 years of experience and all my accolades and whatever, even though I don't like to boast about it, actually will mean something now. I am a beneficiary. I spend a crap ton of money on online. Because in 2011, I found this business to be archaic and there's not much tangible value to give to agents if you want to grow. And so I bought leads and I built systems and infrastructure and it worked, but it's always been 50% of my volume. I never made the agent dependent on it because if you don't want to be dependent on something that someone can cut you off on, even though it's the opposite of a business entrepreneur where I make the most money. So that's why we've been able to survive in the down and up. But moreover, it's okay, great. Buyers and listing agents and buyers agents, they need each other. Sellers and we all need each other. We're all part of an ecosystem. So at this point, I'm just standing by and kind of waiting around. But I teach my agents every day, just keep focused on your craft, keep writing your story, keep doing what you do, be confident. And who cares what happens? It is what it is. We're all living in the same boat.
Yeah.
It
doesn't change anything.
So
stop freaking out, keep a good mindset, and you'll get paid. If you're good at what you do, you're going to get paid.
Yeah, there you go.
For commission is an arbitrary number anyway. You're used to something that you see that makes you feel comfortable. Well, guess what? Be uncomfortable. So what? If you're good at what you do, you're gonna get paid. You don't want to. It's if you want to cry, just get out of the business. Get out of my way. I don't care. I'll take it all.
Get out of my way.
I'll
get
tell you
to the
right
back
now,
of the line, as Tonga said.
I'll leave it at this. And for me, whether we don't see a commission on a piece of paper, I do commercial, so we don't even put the list prices on stuff. So or commission, but. I kind of you really get to see who people are under pressure, okay? Under pressure. And this disruption, not knowing what you're going to make, by looking at a property, okay, so what? It's a little fun. But
it's a little fun.
There's going to be some disruption.
One more thing to negotiate
It's going to be up and down, but if you do it right and you still stay the course, you're going to be okay. Right. But don't get ahead of yourself when you don't know. You don't know. We don't just fucking win.
There you go.
I knew he was going to drop the F-bomb.
I know it was coming. That was his mic drop. He had to end with that bad boy. Althea, what do you think? Mindset. Because you just keep pushing forward. I see you.
Yes, I'm always pushing forward. I feel like 1, resilience, and then 2, stillness. And I just have this thing in my mind where I'm like, chew the meat, spit the bone. Chew the meat, spit the bone. Chew the meat, spit the bone.
Chew the meat, spit the bone.
That's what I'm telling myself literally all the time. And what that basically mean is basically take out what I need, spit out what I don't, right? Because we see so much. It's like an information overload. Everything is out. And so I'm like, hey, hey, how can I make more money off of this, right? So I'm like, how can I go against it? If you're going to put it out, I'm also going to come on top of you and I'm going to talk about it. So that means I'm going to do an email blast like, hey, you guys, did y'all see that NAR just released X, Y, and Z? We need to talk about this. I'm going to do a Zoom seminar. I need everybody to sign up, invite your friends and your family. And now, boom, 250 people have registered. And now I can really have the opportunity to educate them on what's actually happening in the market and give them the optimism that they need in order to push forward to help them reach their goals. So that's how I do mine.
I like it. I like it. Stay optimistic. I love all the optimism. I love the control what you can control mindset. And, you know, they say the windshield's bigger than the rearview mirror, right? So just looking forward, not thinking about how things are, but adjusting and moving forward. So I love all that positive advice, right? All right. You guys are all super successful. I'm going to dig to your core a little bit. Give me your best role model, either currently or as you were coming up in your business. It could be in your business, in your life, whatever. Somebody that you look to that's really made a difference and kind of helped you grow and become the successful professional that's sitting up here today. So who am I going to start? Althea, you're starting. I see you smiling. I can feel it.
I have
Go ahead.
three people.
Three people. All right, let's go.
People. My first one is Lisa Nichols. Her book, Abundance Now, her seminars, her conferences have literally changed my life. When
See
I
people
was
writing it down. There you
Yes,
go.
when I was leaving the bureau, actually, I was on Donald Trump's campaign. I worked as RNC. I deployed a lot. I was with the FBI, you guys. And when I was in Ohio, I was reading her book, and it's called Abundance Now. I tell you guys, it shifted the entire trajectory of my life. I was like, yep, I'm putting this gun down. I'm taking off these boots. I cannot do this anymore. So Lisa Nichols is number one. Number two is T.D. Jakes. I'm very, very spiritual, and T.D. Jakes pours into me like no other. So I love T.D. Jakes. I love his sermons. I love everything that he offers. And then I can't remember my last one. Maybe they're not that important.
Oh, they're not that important. They're not that important if you already dropped them.
I think somebody got left off because Lisa Nichols took the cake. But Lisa Nichols is my girl. Yes.
That's a good one. Who else you got? Tonga, you got somebody you think?
Donny Samson.
Oh, there you go. Look at that. Suck it up to the boss.
Donny Samson. And Donny Samson. No. But, you know, the folks that are in my mentorship circle are people that have had longevity. Hal and Mavis may be here. They are the Waldorf office managers. They may not be here,
I have not seen them,
but also for me, my first mentor in real estate was a guy named Don DeHannis. He was very big in Southern Maryland. And one of the things that he taught me is that real estate is an art and a science. The art of real estate is personalization, remembering people's names, their birthdays, when their child was born, when they're going off to school. Those are the things that really captivate people and build trust and intimacy. That's the art of real estate. The other part of that is the science. Interest rates, market shifts, buyers, sellers, what's happening with programs. That's the science. And if you are one heavy on one and not heavy on the other, you're not going to be successful.
Right.
So if you're an agent and you know every interest rate and every market share and every program that's possible, you are going to be really great at that. But then you can't even remember your client's kid's name.
Right. And I think if you're not good at one of those, because we're not all wired both ways, then maybe it's find somebody to partner with that is good at those. Find that yin to your yang, because we're not all necessarily wired to have every skill set, but know where you're good and find something to complement.
But the key is understanding where your gaps are and being able to fill them with people that can help you do that. And that's where mentorship comes into place. And then for me, longevity is I sit beside these two and this one off here on my right, I'm really just in awe because this is longevity in the game. Yeah. Real estate is not an easy market to be in. No. And if you can talk about 2 decades and, a decade in real estate, that's really something to be really appreciative of. So for me, it's those mentors that have longevity and mentors that, like you, Donny, are rolling in the big dollars. And that's what I want to do.
I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that, right? Broker. Kymber's running a brokerage over there, too. I don't know if the brokers get broker, right? Is that supposed to say that out loud? It's fine. We're being real up here. What do you think, Kymber? Who's been inspirational to you in your career?
Oh, I love it. Well, one, I have a circle of women, 7 women who actually started a business with called Her Best Life. And so we got together, we're all run real estate businesses around the country. And about 6 years ago, met in a mastermind group and started just really pushing one another. And it has been one of the largest sort of transformational professionally. I think this is a really lonely business, even when you're surrounded by a lot of people. And so finding a circle, a tribe, a group of people who can really support you and see sometimes in you things that maybe you can't see in yourself. And so we do our org charts together. We do our business plans. We look at our net worth together. And you look at just the growth that has happened in that group. I think that's a critical piece. Is
how
we
long
launched.
has that group been together? You said
We've been
years?
about 6 or 7 years. And then a few years ago, we launched a business and we started an event for women who come, a lot of real estate women, but really from around the country, and support one another and kind of create. People kept asking us, we want to get in, we want to see the transformation you guys are having, and how do you build that? And it's hard, right? You need to keep the group small enough that you can really just get 10 women together.
And are they from all over the country?
They're all around the country now.
That's cool.
Yeah,
how'd you
pretty
meet
cool.
them through their
we met through a
KW stuff?
mastermind group that we were part of. But I look at Sarah Reynolds is in that group with me, and Wendy Papasan, some amazing heavy hitters in the industry. And I look at just where our trajectory over the last 5 years together, and it's really, we've pushed through some powerful ceilings. So that's number one. 2, if you haven't read Mel Robbins' sort of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, like this idea of just taking action. She's got one of the top podcasts in the world right now, but is also just, I think, a really strong motivational person. And then the last is my mom. I think the way that for me, being able to be young in the real estate industry, I had 3 boys in 5 years, and people were always like, how do you do it? But I was off building and developing, and I had the secret weapon of somebody who, again, believed in me beyond even what I believed myself. And so it really was a push. And so when I lost her a few years ago, I was like, oh, that was it, right? She was sort of that secret weapon that really helped me.
Secret weapon.
Secret weapon.
Wow. I love it. My man, Sammer, I know you got something.
Yeah, I mean, it's to me, it was Michael Jordan.
Can't say Kymber Menkiti.
Yeah, it was literally Michael Jordan, and I'll give you why. Like, he doesn't know that he's my mentor, but he's my pseudo mentor. But I was big into sports. I was 14 years older than my sister, and so I was on my own for a period of time, and I just loved watching the NBA, and I got caught up in Jordan and his tenacity and his mindset. And I was watching The Last Dance last night too. It was ironic. So, but I remember getting a job.
That was great. Everyone in the world watched it because it came out during COVID. Well, we had nothing else to do, so everybody watched The Last Dance.
Yeah, but I got my first job at 13 years old because one, I wanted to make $4 an hour. It was awesome. And then second was that they had cable. We didn't have cable. We lived in humble beginnings. We didn't have cable. We had the Chicago network here. Yeah. So I used to go make pizza, clean bathrooms, do whatever, cashier, and stay till 10:30 or whatever, watching the Chicago Bulls. But I just got so into watching him play and how he made everyone around him better. Like at that age, my parents always talk to me like, "Are you okay? Like, why are you always talking about money or doing this?" I'm like, I don't know. I had no idea, but there was something about the psychology of it. And obviously, I'm a big basketball fan now, and I go to the games and I watch it's a business, right? It's leadership. It's how you make other people better. How do you pick people up? Do you put them down? Do you actually, hey, listen, you didn't do this right, but let me show you how. Like, there's so many things I learned, like, just now that I look back from what I saw. Right. But when I see the man and how he makes everyone better, and he just was relentless and he's obsessed with his craft, like, I love that shit. So that's the man.
Stuff.
And I'll give you a last one. Like, this one quote that was really impactful because I call this the year of the Mamba, right? Yeah. Kobe Bryant, 24. And the job's not finished. Like, I don't know if you ever watched that. Watch YouTube if you want, or there's a press conference where he's like, about to win a championship, and he won all these games, and they ask him, what do you feel about, like the next game, or it's basically just a question that the thing is over, and he's like, the job's not finished, and I just love that attitude. He just made everyone better.
Sammer's ready to give a halftime speech up here. I love it. Yeah. He's intensity. My man Sammer does love some basketball, and he was. I was blessed enough he invited me. I got to sit front row with him at Warriors game.
Did we win or lose when you came?
We lost.
That's okay. That's the last game you're going to, right?
But we got a selfie with Steve Kerr and Gary.
We lost every game this year. We got to watch the other team next year.
We lost every time you win. Maybe you're not allowed to go anymore.
I went to 3. That's fine.
But that's good stuff. So I appreciate those models out there. We're always looking to. You guys have all built successful careers and are continuing to thrive. But is there a misstep not a misstep, but if you had a decision to do over again at some point in your career, if there's something that you would want others to learn from, is there something you could think of through the path? You're like, I wish I had done this sooner. I wish I had known to do this, or I wish I hadn't misstepped here and wasted a lot of money doing something, some point in your career, something that you think you could help us all learn from? Anything you could think of?
Hiring the wrong people.
Hiring the wrong people?
Hiring the wrong people. When I don't know if my mic is working, but I'm naturally loud.
There you go.
So hiring the wrong people. When I first started my team and et cetera, I had like my operations manager, my admin assistant, my inside sales assistant, my outside sales assistant. I had a whole team, W-2 employees and agents. And what I noticed and what I learned is something, and at the time my coach was telling me this, but I don't think I was actually grasping the information. I had to kind of just like power through it. But I hired some of the wrong people up front. And with me hiring the wrong people up front, it cost me business. It made me lose money, and it also cost me clients as well. So what I would say is just make sure that if you have an SOP, your standard operational procedures, or if you have an idea of how your business is going to work, or if you have just something in writing of what you stick to for yourself and for your client experience, make sure you stick to that. Don't navigate away from that and allow for other people to come in and allow for you to lose track and get out of alignment, because it's going to cost you something. And when it costs you something, that could be monetary costs, emotional costs, both. But it's expensive. So hiring the wrong people was a very, very expensive mistake that I learned. Yeah,
and sometimes we don't always know, right? But once you figure out that you've got the wrong person, you got to be quick to pull that trigger, right? It's fire fast, and I think that's it's hard. Running a company like I do now. Sometimes you can feel it. I always love the saying, like, is it inevitable? My dad and I used to always say it to each other when we were like, oh no, it's like, is it inevitable? And then, or I've seen that movie, I know how it ends, and sometimes it's like, look, we know where this is going. Are we going to play it out and let them ruin your business for 3 months, 6 months, or infect other parts of your business, or do you get to the ending quicker? And those are things that, as I'm doing this, I'm getting better at hopefully identifying sooner rather than later. Miss Tonga, what do you think?
So
not getting in sooner because now you're crushing it, right?
For me, it's been comparison.
Yeah.
I'm coming from a very senior level position in the private sector. So coming into real estate, I was very new. And so looking at other people who were doing, a lot of volume, but I wasn't also taking into account how long they've been doing it. So for me, comparison has really been something that I've learned that I should not do. Right? Running my own race, staying focused on my business, doing what makes me feel comfortable, what fits me, what really drives me personally. Yeah. And so comparison for me has been the biggest challenge, learning to trust myself and learning to trust the business that I'm in. Yeah. And there's this quote, I don't go around quoting Theodore Roosevelt all the time, but in this instance, I think it's appropriate. But there's the quote is, comparison robs you of joy.
Yeah.
And if you begin to compare yourself constantly, you start to think about all the weaknesses and all the things you can't do, and you stop focusing on your strengths. Yeah. So for me, really understanding that I can't compare myself to anyone. I can't compare myself to anybody's business. It's my business. And with that, I've done 16 million, 27 million. I'm on track for 40 million. Yeah. So the list goes on and on.
She just figured, instead of comparing, I'm just going to beat them all right away. That's what, and it's funny you say that, and it's a great thought and a great tidbit. And this morning, Marlena McWilliams said similar things. She said she was big into running, and she used this analogy, like when you turn to look at somebody else, you lose your draft, you lose your speed, but stay focused in your own lane. Yes, it's good to learn from others, come to events, and it is a lonely game. So yes, Kymber and her mastermind and her great group, but don't focus on, their wins or whatever, and it can depress you. Comparison robs you of joy.
And the other piece to that is I use a word, cooperation, right?
Cooperation.
Okay, I made it up. It's
sound
cooperating, but I'm also in competition with these agents as well. And their volume and what they're doing pushes me, but I'm also cooperating in partnership with them. So I compete. I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
I went from number 15 to number 3.
She knows it. She knows whatever the stats are, I'm sure.
And I'm eyeing number 1 for Samson. But cooperating,
Watch
but
out,
also
recommending
competition. Just always making sure that I'm staying true, but competing, but also running my own race.
I love it. If you're ahead of Tonga in line, watch out. It sounds like she's coming for you. Sammer, you're not competitive at all, though, right?
No.
All right. What's something you learned along the way, buddy?
Well, I wanted to piggyback on what she said because it really meant a lot to me because, I didn't really have a mentor. My family moved to the Middle East when I was 18, got my license, went to college. just kind of been on my own independent, right? Learning what's right, wrong. Luckily, I didn't get in trouble or anything happened in the wild west of the 1999, 2000 real estate markets, right? We were doing lending and real estate. It was crazy. But one thing that I learned as a life lesson was, you can give, and give. If you choose to give, it doesn't mean you're going to receive. And it really bothered me that I was like, why did this person not giving me back what I gave him? And so I had to learn on my own that, okay, it's okay. This guy, he's good at this. There's good and bad qualities, and I'm not going to let it bog me down. Let me just focus on their good qualities and learning to be a leader, maturing, right? Then you had the whole ideas, oh my God, why didn't I do this? I should have bought this. I mean, you can add many of the words to what I'm saying, but it's like you start feeling regret about stuff. And then it started weighing me down. And it took me a while to let that go. I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't matter. Okay, let that go. It took me years. And then on top of that, I'm like, I say, it's kind of funny. I'd say, how did Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and Michael Jordan, all these rich, wealthy people, how'd they do it? And I said to myself one day, fuck them. I'm gonna tell you how I did it, right? I'm gonna tell you my story. And at the end of the day, it's not about what the hell they did. It doesn't matter. I feel great for anyone that's successful. I'm not petty. I'm not looking at what you have, I'm not sizing you up. But we all do it in some capacity. First impression, size somebody up. You like somebody in 10 seconds. You don't go past the first page of Google. But I said, you know what? I'm not going to. Once I got all this crap off my back, I felt like I was free of baggage. And I was like, I'm writing my own story. And I tell my agents, you're writing your own story. Keep it rolling. Don't size yourself up. Don't compete. You're competing with yourself only. We're our worst nightmare. I remember going to Zillow conference. I used to do a lot of consulting for them. And I went to a conference one time. It was 6-7 years ago, Pelican Hill or something in Newport Beach. And the guy would come up to me and he goes, how's your ROI? And how's this? I was like, huh? I was like, how's your family? It was really weird. I was like, because I'm like, it's just what they do. You ask about numbers, and I was like, how's your family, bro? And he's like, huh? I was like, what does it matter what my numbers are to you? What does it matter? It just came out then it was it. From there, I was like, you know what? I'm not competing. I'm not looking at you. I'm in my own lane. I have no noise, and I felt free as a bird. It took me a lot of years to do that, but the good thing about where I sit today is I have a duty to pay that forward. Yeah. And everyone will learn that on their own time. But when you start to realize that, who cares what the leaderboard is? Who cares what the price point is? Who cares? You treat every renter, $1 million client the same. Everything will be good.
Well, maybe a little bit different than
no, but the principle really matters. If you box yourself in this business or anything in life where you don't want to drive 40 miles or it's about this dollar or just no, you treat everyone the same. I mean, this is just my point of view, and this is why I feel good because I don't worry about any of this crap. I don't stress. I don't worry about it. I stay in my lane. I keep it going. I'm not worried. If you've been $1 billion, I'm so happy for you. Not petty, but I know that internally. But we live in a society where it's tough. It's difficult. We all want to achieve.
Sure.
But if you let go of some of these things, especially as a real estate agent, my God, you'll fly.
Yeah, I love that. Miss Kymber, you never made any mistakes along the way, have you?
Never that. I think, and you've heard a lot of amazing things here. The one that stands out for me is embracing progress over perfection. It is nothing that you've heard today is groundbreaking. Maybe you've heard some things a little differently, but a lot of times what happens is we get stuck in the thinking about what it is. Very rarely in our business do you not know what to do to go back into your business and take action. The answer is we just don't. You walk out of here and you're like, oh, that felt good. I got so much today. And you don't have a one nugget that what's the one thing that you're going to implement back in your business? And for me, that was, I would literally be like, I did it today to my team. I was like, don't send that out yet. I need to make 3 more edits to it. And they know now to push back and say okay, but does it need to be done, or is it good enough to go out? Because the absence of it going out means it doesn't have any impact.
Right.
And so I would encourage, I have an opportunity in the KW world to coach a lot of top people. And the one thing that when you sit in all these amazing sessions is what did you hear? You had a whole day of amazing good stuff. What's the one thing that before you walk out of here today, you can put it on your calendar, you can take action, you can schedule it. The ability for you to implement it increases tenfold just by doing that one activity. Don't try to do all of it. Try to say, I'm going to do this one thing and put it in my business. So when I shifted that thinking and just said, we're going to take action, sometimes it's not going to be perfect. Emails are actually more likely to be open when they have a typo. Maybe they're actually more likely to be read.
That's why I make all the typos.
That's why. I told you that before. So I just think get into action. And when I learned that, I feel like it was literally, I stopped playing safe and our business exploded.
That's awesome. Good advice. And there's the the fight for perfectionism is real. Like sometimes it disables a lot of us from trying to do maybe some of the social media stuff we want to do because we're afraid it's not going to be perfect or as good as what Samer does or as good as what whoever does. Like it stops us from trying stuff. If
Who cares?
A B or a B plus or an A minus is good. It doesn't have to be perfect. It'll get better each time you do it. But if you never pull that trigger, never get started, right?
You guys had Jim here, Coleman, and he was spoken up and he said, like, just do it, right? Like, look at what he's done in that Instagram world. He was like, yeah, the video sucked the first time, but the 10th time it got better. Yeah. So you might be saying like, I don't want to do that. I don't like the way I look. You're not gonna look better. Like you look like you look. So like, just start, and then it gets better.
Yeah, just to add to that, like I have a lot of agents that, like I don't like to be. I mean, I'm a pretty shy guy, so just
yeah, you seem super shy, Sam.
Wait, you're
challenging
shy?
I swear. Yeah.
I'm gonna challenge.
What I'm trying to get at is like a lot of people come up to me and be like I don't, like how do I start in social media? How do I do this? It's like, look, don't post anything. Just when you leave a house, when you see something cool, you left like either a tidbit, something that you saw, just take the camera and turn around and don't post it. Just save it in your folder. Just leave it. And just keep it going. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. Don't have to like think automatically you have to do a picture or say something and then you post it. And it's worked where it's like just, and then you'll revisit it and you can actually look back and see your progression. And then you'll start to learn that as your own pace to post if you want to post. If you don't want to post, don't post. But nothing wrong with taking a camera around and say, you know what, I just left this house today. Let me tell you, what I learned from it. Or, whatever it is that you want to take from it. But you don't have to.
You really were looking lovingly at your hand there, Sammy.
I got 5 fingers on both hands.
That's fantastic. I love that advice. It's good stuff by everybody. Now, all right. So, a technique right now, either a tech tool you love and is you're reliant on to build your business, or a marketing thing that you think has been super effective for you in building your business. Pick one of those. And I know Kymber, something that you've gone through in production, or something you think has been super valuable for some of your people. But Althea, what are you loving right now? I know you've got 17 systems that you crush, but give me a couple of things that are super important to helping you crush it.
So one is my CRM. I use Lofty, and Lofty has been super
provided free at Samson Properties. Just in case there's wondering. Go ahead, Althea.
Lofty has been super awesome and amazing for me. So I use Lofty.
Used to be Chime. For those who are like, what's Lofty?
It used to be Chime. Social media is my game because I do a lot of my lead generation on social media as well. But now a lot of my business comes from past clients and referrals. But I do that inside of my Lofty account. Like I make sure all of my smart plans are set up. I build them out from the very, very beginning to the very end. And I'm literally in my system each and every day. And outside of Lofty, I actually kind of combine that with my live events. I do a lot of virtual events. So, and it's free. One, I don't have to pay to come into a space. And two, I'm just doing Zoom, right? And I get on Zoom, I have a slideshow created, and people love it. Every time I put out a Zoom event, over 100 people attend. Even if they don't come or show up, at least I got their first name, last name, email address, and I have them in my database, and I can continue to drip them until they come to my next event. So Lofty and virtual events are my thing.
What do you do in your events? I'm doing
I do everything.
Like, what do you talk about?
So I talk about, you can tell me, ask me this. So I talk about different things, right? So first-time home buyers, I've done new construction, I've done first-time home sellers, I've partnered with divorce attorneys, and I've done selling a home through divorce. I've done move-up buyers. Right now, my focus is on selling a property and purchasing new construction. And what I also do too is I match my email campaigns with my social media. So for like right now, if you go on my social media, you'll see that I'm talking specifically about how to sell your home and purchase a new construction property. That's what I'm talking about. But if you're in my database, you're also getting emails about that same exact thing. So if you miss my social media post, because granted, I don't control Instagram, so I can't control my visibility, at least you're going to catch my email, right? And I can make sure that you've opened it, and then, hey, we can make contact from there. I just switched to that topic 4 days ago, and since then, I've already gotten 7 new sellers.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's how I do it.
Can I use that topic next?
Absolutely.
I need Althea's energy in my videos. I think that's the key, right?
Yes, and I just, like I say, just switch it up. Like I was saying in the beginning, you guys, like if you have to switch your tactics, it's okay. Don't marry one tactic. It's not going to work forever because real estate is ever flowing. So sometimes you have to change it out. So if you have to switch your tactic, that's okay. If you have to switch your niche, that's okay. Just keep going until you get the people that you need.
There you go. Miss Tonga.
So for me, it's been a couple things, but I touch all of my past and current leads at least 20 times a year. And it's really simple. I have a really simple algorithm. Once a month, they receive a newsletter. It's professionally done, looks good. It has market-related information, things that matter to them. I'm going to...
That blue one likes to come in and out on me. There you go.
So once a month, they receive a newsletter from me. And it has all the information they need to know about what's happening in the real estate market. Every quarter, they receive a professionally designed magazine. And so that information, that magazine has me on the front cover. It has a letter from me, and it has market relevant information, how to sell your house, how to have curb appeal. So they get that once a quarter. Once a quarter, they also receive a pop by, which I hand deliver to each of those homes. Yes, it takes me forever, but
pop by or pop eyes? Because I was thinking about that spicy chicken sandwich.
I'm not dropping that off. But a pop by is just a small gift that you leave with your client. It's a small gift. It could be, last month I'm popping by with popcorn. So it was popcorn, had my card on it, dropped it off. They were like, oh my God, you're here. What's going on? So it's a way for me to have some FaceTime with them. And then every year around the holiday time, we do something really special. So it's a turkey giveaway, Christmas tree giveaway. So my clients are touching and seeing me at least 20 times a year. And that may look different for you, because what I've learned is I've gotten a lot of clients from other agents who just sold their house, who sold the client the house.
Orphans.
And never called them again.
Right.
And so out of sight, out of mind. And I always want to be at the top of their minds. So that's the first thing, 20 times a year.
I want to make a point, because you're doing what I think a lot of people should be, in that so early in your career, sometimes it takes people 5-10 years to understand that they should be doing that. To be building this so early in your career is going to be fantastic, because you're going to have this database they're all going to keep coming back to you because you're fantastic, but you're going to get those past clients and those continued referrals because you're doing the right stuff from day one. That that was always my thing. I wish somebody had told me earlier on to do a better job in my database, because the first 5 or 8 years, it was crap, you know? So, I mean, the last 10 years I did better, but I wish somebody had rung my head like you're doing early. So great job. Keep going.
And so on top of that, half of my closures last year were from past clients. So the system is working. The other thing is I map where I'm making my money. So if I am investing X amount of dollars on a specific tool, I then map how many closings I've had from that tool. So at the top of the year, if I've spent $20,000, and I'm just using an arbitrary number, and I've only closed one home, that tool is getting dropped. If I'm spending, $5,000 on Popeyes every quarter, and I'm only getting one call back from my past clients, I'm dropping it. So map where you're spending your money, because a lot of times you're spending your dollars, but you're not getting the return on investment. And then 3 really quick things. The first thing is I treat every transaction like it's my last transaction. Because if you think about it, if the transaction you were working right now was your last transaction, you would call that lender every day. You would call that client every day. You would make sure they were uploading their pay stubs. You would make sure the inspection happened. You would do everything perfect because it's your last transaction. I treat every client like they're my only client. As far as they know, I don't have any other clients.
That's awesome. That's good stuff. I'm going to throw 2 tidbits in. Kymber, and you're already doing it, but Kymber earlier said you all should have your own P&L and you're your own business owner. And Tonga's doing that right now. She's evaluating it. The only thing I would say, and I'm sure you're doing this, so I'm going to make one point on top of that, is don't give up on something right away if you believe in it. Like, okay, you spent $5,000 on something. People do this all the time, whether it's a postcard mail or a newsletter. Like, you might send your newsletter out and it costs $2,000. Well, I didn't get a client this month. It's over. No. Yeah. Let it marinate and let it breathe a little bit.
Absolutely.
You can't give up on stuff right away. But I love that you're doing that. You're really evaluating what you're doing. But then also make sure you give it a little chance to succeed.
Build that into your budget, right? I'm
Yeah.
going to do
Build
this
it
for a
into your
year.
budget.
This is how much
6
I'm going to
months,
spend.
9
That's
months,
right.
a year,
That's
whatever.
Right.
And then evaluate it. And then the other thing is, again, making sure every client feels like they're your only client. I can't tell you how many clients who felt like they were just a number. Especially when you get to become a top agent, you have so much volume, and it's easy to feel like you're overwhelmed, but that's none of my clients' business. As far as they know, they're my only client. And the last thing, guys, is I work like I'm broke. I literally work like I'm broke. I look like I don't have any money. If I'm not busy,
You look like $1 million to me,
listen,
Tonga.
what I do is if I don't have a client or showings or leads on the weekend, I'm probably reaching out to one of you guys to do an open house. I'm not too big to do an open house. I work like there is no tomorrow. I pick up the calls, I answer the phone, I send emails, I do whatever it takes to win. I work like I'm broke. Now, some people will say that's a scarcity mindset. No, it's a survival mindset. And if you want to survive in this business, you got to work like there's no tomorrow. So for me, that's how I make sure that I'm staying in the business.
That's awesome advice. And I will actually admit to this, that I did not do what you did. And I got myself in the churner when I was selling it's a transaction. And somebody woke me up at one point. It was like, each one of these things, guys, they're buying or selling, it's the most important thing in their whole world. And sometimes when we get going, we forget, we lose sight of that. And it becomes just rinse and repeat. And it's good that it's so comfortable to you that it's rinse and repeat, but realize it's their whole world. So I think that there were times in my career I didn't do a great job of that. So it's
what's
good
that move from being transactional to relational?
Yeah.
All right, is this a single transaction, or are you
Right.
building a relationship where
Right.
you are for this family
Absolutely.
a key element on their wealth journey?
Right. So
It's the art and science that we talked about. That's the art of real estate.
yeah, absolutely.
Let me tell you something. For being in the business for 3 years, you are like, there's a lot of things we have similar like mindset, but I'm very proud of you.
Sam, you didn't know, but you're my idol.
No, but
Sorry,
I'm
Donny.
serious,
Sorry,
like,
Donny.
I got kicked aside quick, Sam.
well, whatever you're doing, like this is exactly what gives me hope in this industry. Because I used to love going to closings and make money. Okay, I got excited. Now it's like then after that was like when I got ratified contracts. Then I just don't like. I get excited when I see like our agents. I got some agents here and here. Like they're doing well and teaching and instilling it. So you find over time as you grow what makes you excited and keep it moving, right?
Yeah.
But like hearing you, like it's freaking awesome.
Awesome.
So good
stuff.
for you on that. But
Sam, but your tools.
Favorite
tool or
one of my favorite
marketing or
tools,
technique?
honestly, is like being able to send an email on Gmail and being able to unsend it. You know what I'm talking about? That shit is
You're on
awesome.
iPhone right now, right?
That'll get you out of trouble so fast.
You can do that?
Hell yeah, bro. And on your
iPhone,
phone
like,
too, I
that's
think.
How much time do you have?
I took me like until I figured out like 2 years
5
ago.
seconds? All right.
No, you can make it to like 20.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I gotta like.
I got to change my setting.
Yeah, like that thing. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. So, anyways, that's amazing. That's G Suite. But like, I use my whole business is all tech stacked. I use Slack, like it's a WhatsApp channel. Slack, Salesforce companies for, different departments of the firm, which is great. We use Follow Boss as our CRM. It's pretty incredible. It's a catch-all, be-all. And I just, the VAs and the ISAs and dialing out, 3,000 to 5,000 people a day. Like we don't, like when it rains, the water never hits the ground at my firm, right? Because everybody at some point, whether it's today, tomorrow, next year, 10 years from now, they're going to continue to be spoken to. And it's not just some robotic crap. It's like, they go on our website, we know they saw Bowie. And we're going to make something that's going to be cultivated, not about just houses, lifestyle. Like there's so much more people that want. They don't want to just see, just basic and bland. Like I was telling my guys who went door knocking, I said, guys, instead of just knocking on doors in some random people's houses, yes, you want their listing, but ask them like, look, I'm from the community. Like, what would you like to read about? Like, we wanted to build it for you, right? Like, instead of you wants, you should ask them what they want. And you can cultivate that. Our job is to give people the best consumer experience you can give them, right? Because everything in life is hard. Everyone has a wall up. Everyone is like real estate. It's a roller coaster ride, but like it should be an enjoyable experience and fun, right? I mean, that's how I think. So in essence, I mean, my tools. I like the Gmail on
I like the Gmail.
That's the one I'm thinking with.
I swear to God, like that thing could just ruin your
Does it
whole
work
life.
on phones too?
Bro, it does.
Gotta be fast.
And scheduling emails like at night when you're like 2 o'clock in the morning, you're awake, like 8 o'clock in the morning, schedule. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right,
Miss
I got
Kymber, what do you
three
think?
for you?
I love
One of
it.
the ones we're loving right now is Homekeeper, which sort of does again.
Homekeeper, I've never heard that.
Homekeeper, yep. This is one again. All goes back to database. So if you don't have your database well dialed in, that's what you need, right? Because it's giving you like just sort of mover intelligence scores, helping you itemize like what people based on their searching. I think AI is like going to be the next wave in our industry. So that is using a lot of AI technology to sort of help you curate where you go. I think ChatGPT, like I don't start with a blank screen anymore ever. So I mean, ask it. If you're up here and you're like, oh, I like this content, this idea of like, what's a move up buyer like into the new construction? Ask it. Hey, what's a newsletter campaign? What's a social media post? Like they're writing scripts for us. Like it is heavily used in our industry. If you're not using it every single day, you should be. Because it's just taking the brain work out. If you're stuck today on something that you want to write, you want to send a newsletter out, you want to write an email, give it good detailed data, read before you push send, but it's giving, I think, it's helping innovation, right, in our business. And then the last one's really simple, I think, is a scoreboard. We are a tight, like, understand your leading indicators. So we all get excited when you have a contract that closes, but backing yourself up, how many conversations do you need to have? How many agreements do you need to execute? How many appointments do you need to go on? And then we track it. So as a team, like, we have a scoreboard. We're looking at it every single week. We have something called the 15th protocol. So at the 15th of the month, if we're not on track, we double down on the activities. And so that's the piece. Like, this is a time in the market. I love when you're hustling, and because you're off. Your indicator's like, hey, I don't have anybody to go out with today. But you should know, not at the end of the month, like, oh man, I felt really busy. This is an industry where we can feel really busy and make no money. Yeah. So you want to understand, what are those leading indicators? What do you need to be doing so that you can look up at the end of a day and say, yep, I hit the target. I talked to 5 people. I went on 1 appointment, and I did a showing. Like, great, you won the day.
I love it. Good stuff. Yeah, I saw you jump in. What's up?
There's a thing I've been playing with. You guys can check it. You ever watch like Wolf of Wall Street? It's like, sell me this pen.
Yeah.
So there's a domain, sell me this pen. It's pretty cool. Like, I've been playing with it, and I'm going to probably integrate it to my business. But you basically you can press call and you talk to somebody, and they'll just like a role playing, but like with an AI person, and they'll say like,
nuh-uh.
Yeah. So I fed it all like voicemails.
I'm going to go play with it.
Well, you had to feed them stuff. So I fed it all my like Zillow calls, like with the consumers and the agents, so it learns a little bit. And then you're just talking to like a random person, but it's an AI machine. Like, oh, I'm looking for a house in DC. Then you could just talk whatever you want. Like, okay, my name is XYZ. What are you looking for? Well, tell me more about the neighbor. And then it just learns what to say, and you're just like, it transcribes everything for you. So if you can play with this website, like, you can imagine the role playing and the training. But if you're a business leader or a team leader, or even for yourself, you can create it to what you want it to be doing. But imagine
that's
just
awesome.
Pressing,
what's it called?
It's called Sell Me This Pen.
Sell Me This Pen?
Yeah.
Oh. Look at that. I see people writing that stuff.
It's something I'm exploring, but I'm cultivating to be for me. But I'm sure you guys can benefit from it.
See, my problem with ChatGPT and some of this stuff is that it's going to make me sound too smart. I mean, you're smart, so when you write an email, it's like ChatGPT's all. Like, I read it like, Donny didn't write that email.
You can tell it who it should sound like. So you can be like, write an email.
Like Donny Samson would say, here's what my normal writing looks like.
Pick your favorite person who you want to sound like.
The app, you can use the app and voice it and say, write this in my tone. And say, use some of the same exact words.
And that's what you're training it to do. So by using it even just once a day, you're training it for your tone. Yeah. And this is the stuff, guys, like when you think about the leverage of our system, it's not that our staff is going to go away, but they're going to be able to do higher dollar productive activities because you're leveraging these activities. So who succeeds? It's not the technology disrupts you. The agent who leverages technology disrupts you, and that's what's happening.
Just don't get in a fight with your AI.
You're going to lose.
They're going to wake up and something's going to happen.
Is that kind of like fighting against yourself?
I mean, kind of, but
like Sarah's up here, so that means it's question time, I think. Remember, you can text in your questions. You have the text line up there.
All right, so guys, what is your favorite platform that you use social, and would you give everybody your handles, please, where they can follow you?
I guess I'll start. My favorite platform that I use is Instagram. And
I am Althea Hearst.
Yep, there you go.
Look at that.
I am Althea Hearst, so that is my Instagram.
I am not Althea Hearst. That's her name.
That's my name.
I am Donny Samson.
Yeah.
Is that your handle? I am Donny Samson?
I should be. I'm going to go change it right now.
Somebody just stole it for him. Yes. Tonga.
So my mic is dead.
Okay.
Borrow yours. So mine's is also Instagram, and mine's is at TongaRealtor.com.
That's the whole thing?
Yep.
At TongaRealtor.com?
Mm-hmm. At TongaRealtor.com.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I probably knew that. But.
Yeah, I like TikTok and I like Instagram. So at my name, at Sam Kuraishi, and at Sam Kuraishi TikTok.
There you go. Do you do other dances, or you just...
Me? You gotta follow me.
We can have a dance off between Donny and Sam. That'll be awesome.
No, that's okay. I'll be the backup dancer.
On Instagram too, just Kymber with a Y, Kymber.
There you go. Just Kymber. You're like
Kymber.
Madonna.
Kymber Menkiti.
Okay.
But it is with a Y.
Yes,
so
it's
just
with
throw people off.
I thought it was just one name in it out there. I didn't know.
Kymber.
That's awesome. What is your go-to source to get content and data for your newsletters and for your communications? Your go-to data source?
Keeping Current Matters, and for the content, like drafting up the copy, ChatGPT. Period. Like, those are the best ones for me.
I would say Chat GPT. And for content, actually, I use my day-to-day. So a lot of the experiences that I have with clients, things that are happening that I'm seeing in real time. For example, the whole NAR issue I think has come up a couple times with enlisting appointments. So using my day-to-day, some really relevant content, that things that are happening on a day-to-day for me in the market.
Yeah, we have like 15 virtual assistants that do various departments at our team. So a lot of them they're going around, whether it's the Real Deal or like Washingtonia. Just depends on what we're trying to the habits, like what the consumers want to digest. MLS data. I mean, we're just all over the place. So it's really never the same, right? Because we like to get feedback from our clients, and so we use just pretty much everything that's out there to do something with it.
We use a lot of the local neighborhood pages to just understand on the ground, the neighborhoods and farms that we serve. And then Bright. I mean, Bright is producing, I think it's heavily underutilized for the level of data that they're giving us on market stats. And they're great one-pagers. You can send that to clients, especially your more analytical clients, to be able to say, hey, here's an updated market report on what's happening in your neighborhood. It's great value for your past clients, sellers, especially those that love to just sort of digest the local market stats.
Yeah, and I do those every Friday on our weekend updates on bigger areas of ours, like the whole DMV.
Out where you're getting all your
weekly
information
updates. Yeah, I am. Yes, actually. But but they see them on there. But you can drill down, especially if you're on a Smart Charts account, which isn't expensive. But you can do, okay, I just want Bowie, I just want Chantilly. Because I do the whole DMV, or I'll do Central Virginia, or I'll do the Baltimore-Hartford area, or I'll do major areas. But you can drill that down so you guys know, because I don't even know if I said that to y'all, but you can log into your own Smart Charts and do it. I just try to do 4 big areas to give us a general feel for the whole DC.
And it's a great thing to have in an open house. If you're doing
Yeah.
an open house, print out the one for that local neighborhood, because half people that come through are not buyers, they're sellers and neighbors. And so being able to hand them an item of value, collect their information, add them to your database, and you just handed them data that's making you look really smart, because you are, but that you didn't spend hours doing. You clicked a button.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
Awesome. What would you advise a brand new agent to impact their business immediately? Because you've got a varying wealth of experience here, right? Some new to all the way through old, like Donny. So you've got a ton of different experience levels here. What is your best peak? You kind of are the oldest up here.
For a new agent?
For a brand new agent,
agent.
or it could be an experienced or an agent that's been in the business that just hasn't killed it yet.
I'll give you a little bit. First off, just like you're building a house, foundation matters, but the punch list matters more. The little small details. Like a lot of times people come into this career, they see the limelight, the multi-million-dollar listing, all this BS. It's not real. Real is work, hard work. But it's great that you want to get into it. But what's really important is the first couple months or whatever, the first year, mentorship, feeling comfortable with somebody, somebody's going to show you around, not just tell you to go Google it or go to my open house. A lot of us just don't know. It's not your fault, but we just don't know who to go to. We think brands, we think we're following commission, you're chasing all these different things that don't really matter. What matters is your comfortability with someone who's talking to you, not over you, training you, building your foundation. And yeah, you're an independent contractor, you go anywhere you want. But how many people have really gone to people that didn't really train people correctly, and they changed their entire career that could have been great agents, which is sad, to go this way? And so for me, it's finding the place where you feel comfortable. Don't get caught up in money and commission. Get caught up in knowledge and building something brick by brick so you actually can have something tangible.
Like that.
Database. You have contacts in your phone that is a foundation of your business. When we go to sell these businesses, for the few people that have successfully sold a real estate business, they are selling their database. So I would start there. There's people who already know you, like you, trust you, add them in, get them in one place, and get a basic smart plan where you can communicate them and let them know what you're doing, and then talk about what you're doing.
Yep.
And that's where you start.
Yeah, database, I love that. The other one I would say is on top of that is do open houses. They're free.
Build your database. That's
Well,
right.
You're building your database, but they're reps. I'm sorry if I just stole your sound when you pick up the mic, but they're reps. All of us sucked talking about real estate the first time we talked to somebody. And we were a little better the second time and a little better the third time. And then we got good at it because we took reps. The people playing in the NBA, Michael Jordan didn't get good because he just walked down the court, was awesome. He practiced a lot. And people get caught up in, I'm just supposed to wait for these leads to come. You get reps talking to people and get better talking to people. So go to open houses. Even if you might not make one positive connection the first couple open houses, but you're going to get better and better each time you do it.
And vary those things, right? Have
Yeah.
your database, and what you send them is the open house that you're sitting that week.
Yep.
So that they see, hey, come check me out at my open house. This is where I'm going to be. Interested in seeing this property. Now you've put that together, right? You're
Yep.
adding to your database an open house, and you're communicating to the people who already know you and you want to be valid to, because now they're seeing that they don't know that you've never
You're
sold
out
a
there
house.
working.
They see that you're working. That's right.
We always say real estate's a contact sport. So the
Yeah.
earlier you touch, that's how it's going to be, no matter
Absolutely.
what you do.
Yep.
So for me, being one of the newest agents on here on the panel, for me, it's really simple, and I'm going to always start with prayer. So at the top of the year, I center myself. That may look like something different for everyone, but I center myself, and I'm really clear on what my goals are for the year. What are your goals? A lot of times when you're a new agent, the goal is, I just want to sell real estate. Well, what does that mean? How many units? What volume? Where? Are you looking at first-time home buyers? Are you looking at million-dollar properties? What is your goal? Be really clear about your goal. Then you want to plan. How am I going to get to that goal? What are the resources, the tools that I need to actually get there? And then prepare. Get ready. Don't sit back and wait for it to come to you and then execute. I can't tell you how many times I'm talking to agents and they're like, well, how can I do what you did? Well, have you realized what your goals are? Have you written down your goals? No. Have you planned? Do you know exactly how you want to achieve that? No. Have you prepared? No. Then how are you going to execute?
Have you put together a database?
Yeah, have you put together a database? That's part of your planning. People just want to execute, but they don't want to do the work. And so for me, it's not seeking wealth, it's seeking wisdom. And sometimes that takes time. It's not a microwave business. You have to pray, plan, prepare, and then execute.
Love it.
Awesome.
Love it.
For me, I was going to say database too, because I love systems. But definitely my database, and then also making sure that you guys are staying aligned with who you want to work with. I always tell people, like, if you're working with everybody, you're working with no one. And with that, especially for new agents coming into the business, or even seasoned agents who just haven't had that much business, because we have people who've been licensed for 10 years and only sold 2 homes, right? If that's the case, you're really still a new agent. You don't have that much experience, right? So I feel like if you know who you're working with, that's going to help you. And not only that, it would allow for you to shed who you don't want to work with early on, because a lot of times you're hungry, you're ready, but you're taking on clients that do not serve you. You're taking on clients who are stressing you out. You're taking on clients who are making you lose sleep, and you're dreaming about, like, this is not what this business is supposed to look like, right? We do not want you waking up crying in the shower and having an emotional breakdown because your clients are stressing you out. This is your clients, or even your partners, So don't take stuff from everybody when it comes down to your home inspectors, your lender partners, whoever, but also your clients as well. Be quick to say, hey, listen, I cannot serve you. I can offer you a referral.
There you go.
That sounds fantastic.
Can I add
Tanya got
one more thing?
Go, you go.
She want a little whipped cream on that.
One more thing. Guys, we are all colleagues. And in this business, you will come across another agent that you've worked with again. So one of the things I've learned is respect your colleagues, because they may not be.
The unsend button.
Yeah.
The unsend.
Yeah, that's
really
it.
angry.
The unsend
The
button.
unsend
Yeah.
button.
Or
That's
sometimes
awesome.
people don't even send because they don't respond to their emails.
Right.
So for me, it's respecting your colleagues, because the business is big, but it's really small. And so when you respect your colleagues, 9 times out of 10, when your paths cross again, you will be able to work with that person and have a positive experience. I can't tell you how many closings and how many ratified contracts I've gotten just because I was able to work with a partner that I showed respect to and courteous to, and now we're able to work together. So respect your partnerships.
That's
Love
great.
it.
That's
Love
great.
it.
Guys, great information. Big, huge round of applause for our panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much.
I think we're going to take one